Hi, right, so today I'm going to show you how to make soap sponges. So today I'm going to make lemon sherbet sponges and I'm going to make 6. So everything I talk about today is UK law, mainly England, Scotland, Wales. If you're outside the UK, you need to check your own laws, but we are quite strict over here. So I'll be talking about assessments and whatnot too. So I'm going to make lemon sherbet and I'm going to use exfoliating sponges. These ones here. I prefer to use white. You can get them in colour if you prefer. They come in yellow, blue, purple and red usually. If you're just practising, you can grab them from Home Bargains. But if not, there's quite a few retailers that do them in bulk as well. Either colour or the white ones. So today, this is the soap I'm going to be making with. So this is Crystal WSLS Free. So it's a white melt and pour base. This is the tub that you get for 11.5 kilos. I do make in bulk, so this is why I need this size, but you can get them in 1 kilo tubs and you can buy them either from suppliers or on Amazon, although Amazon is a bit more expensive. So I'm going to show you the 3 colours. So these are all the different types of yellow I can use in my assessment. So your assessments will vary. Some you'll only be able to use Mica. Some you can use any. It depends where you get your assessments from. But you'll need to check that if you are planning on selling or gifting your soap sponges. So this one is Mica or Mica, as some people call it. This is yellow. This one is a fluorescent powder and this one is glycerin dye. They are all in my assessment. So these two here are 0.5 gram and this one is 0.2 gram. So usually when I make these, I use glycerin dyes. I prefer them to powder dyes. I find them a lot easier to work with, a lot easier to measure. So I've put in this one, this is 0.2 gram. And I've popped that in there and I've only used that amount because that's how much I use in one of these soap sponges. So I use 6 drops, which is 0.2 gram. And that's for a 150 gram soap sponge. I half it for my smaller sponges. And these ones are the maximum allowance. So when it says it's 0.5, that's how much it is. It is quite a lot of dye. So I will make some with it so you can see how they come out in the different shades. So the allowance is a bit higher because it's 0.5 gram per 100 grams, but that should be more than enough. So I'm not going to go any higher than that. So, and then the 0.2. So you do need some rubbing alcohol. This, you use so much of this when you use melt and pour. So I buy it in, you can get it in 5 litre drums. You need the 99.9% rubbing alcohol. Okay, so with your powders, you need to mix them with your alcohol before you put them into your soap. Otherwise, you'll get like lumps and they don't mix very well. You can mix it with fragrance oil, but because we're not using that much, I prefer to mix it with alcohol and then add my fragrance oil into them to give it a top up. Okay. So, and then I recommend you using a big jug. So I prefer a full 1 litre jug, bigger than your standard ones. And then a silicone spatula. And then your weighing scales. So some people do it a lot different to me. They pour it into a bowl and they mix it from there. They make a big batch, add the fragrance and colour and then add it in. Add the sponges in. I prefer not to. I do melt all my soap in a big pot on the stove. I've got a stove top in my workshop, so I can do that. Some prefer to melt it in a microwave. It depends how you prefer to do it. If you're making in bulk, I would recommend this tabletop. Some people also do double boiler method. It's whatever suits you and how much you need to make. If you're just making a single sponge, I'd do it just in the microwave. Just make sure you're checking it start it off at 30 seconds and then check it every 10 seconds, giving it a good stir. It can boil quite quickly in a microwave, so you really need to keep an eye on it. if you're doing stove top like I am, I go from between 2 and 3 on the electric stove, and it melts to about 65 degrees, which is my preferred working temperature. Okay, so I will blend these shortly and I'll make a start. I'm going to get my jug now and I want to fill it with my soap on my scales. So these do take a few seconds to come on. So I've mixed the different powders together. Just give this another stir because it's gone. So this is mica in here. I don't know if you can see that properly. So that's mixed in. Same with the neon dye. That's mixed. Oops. And the glycerin dye. So I've put the fragrances oil in already, and I've mixed these two with some rubbing alcohol as well, and I've not put none in that. Usually I do just tip that straight into my jug. I also measure usually my fragrance oil straight into my jug, but for this purpose I will do it this way. So I'm just going to measure out my soap. So I do 150 gram sponges, so I'll weigh out about 180, just for the excess, because some will dry on the side of the jug, and I want to make sure that they are 180, so it's just your usual white soap. So we'll do the mica one first, so I'll just pour that in there. I'll give that tub a little stretch just to get that last bit out. There we go. And give it a stir. So it's not very bright, this one. I don't usually use mica for this kind of thing. Micas are good for if you want sparkly soap. Sorry, I missed that bit. So just put my sponge in exfoliating side down and squished it into the soap, and then I'll flip it with my spatula and get the back and just push that down, and I flip it onto its side and wipe the back. So I can then, this manoeuvre does take some practice, but there you go. And then pop it down onto there, and then I'm just going to pour the excess soap over the top, and then give it a spritz, and the rest of the soap will mix into it and it's fine. Now, usually when you're making in between colours or whatever, you do wash your jugs, you need new jugs. However, on my labels I do state that I use plus minus on colorants, so I can mix them, but these ones I won't sell anyway. This is just to show you the different colours, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour this straight in anyway. So I'll zero that and weigh out some more. So like I said, I've got my big pot here which has got so many spills all over it because I haven't got the steadiest of hands, but I'll just pour that in. Okay, so back to white again, and I'll pour my fluorescent neon yellow in now. So I'll do that mix and spritz again to get that excess out and give that a mix. So I don't know if you can see in the bottom of there, there's some like little lumps. That's where to do in your soap if you don't mix it with rubbing alcohol first. So I'll get a new sponge, pop that in, so exfoliate inside down, get some squidges, flip to do the back, flip onto its side, wipe the excess off the back, get it out. I've used a bit extra soap on here, but as long as I weigh at least 150, it's fine, because that's what my labels state. That's it. Get out of spritz, and it just starts soaking. I don't know if you can see from this one. It's cool enough for me to touch now. Pull it off the foil, and it has soaked in on the top. So it's still a little bit wet. You do get some rubbing through, even though I've wiped the back. So once it's dry, I'll just pick off the excess, cut it off, whatnot. So big colour differences there.
So, and then the last one. So this is the glycerin dye, my usual choice. So I'll pop them back on the scales. I'll get my soap out again. So your trading standards can help you with what scales you need. UK law states that you can't use domestic scales. And some trading standards state that they have to be trading approved and calibrated annually. But your own will be able to help with that. Usually you don't need to mix rubbing alcohol with this colour. It's just because it's a bit, as it's glycerin based, it's quite thick. So it doesn't come out of a tub that well like that. So let's fill the inside down. Flip it over. Wipe the excess off the back. Pop it down. Pour over. Use quite a lot of extra soap here. Spritz. If you're left with a bit like I have in here, you can spritz it and to get rid of the bubbles, and then pour again. That will move that out of the way. Just get around the edges. Spritz the top, and that will all soak in.
So this is how the 3 different colours come out. So first one is the yellow mica. The second one is the neon, which is quite bright. And the third one is the glycerin dye. So that one is still soaking through, but you can see how it is going through. And that is all 3. So if you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments. I'll answer quick through now. So I wrap mine in heat shrink wrap bags, seal them and then heat shrink wrap them, and then label them on the back. So you do need to spritz them with your rubbing alcohol to get rid of the bubbles, because you will develop some unfortunately around the side otherwise. So I don't know if you can see, I don't really want to twitch this too much because it's still very hot. But you see the bubbles there? That's what would happen on your soap. So you will get a slightly uneven surface at the bottom, but once it's dry you can kind of just rub it with some gloves on, and it'll flatten it out, and you can always trim the edges if you do spill. They don't take long to set. This first one hasn't been made long and it's setting already. This one's not too far, I can touch it. I would wrap them as soon as they are set, because they do attract dust particles, and especially on yellow. Tiny's mouth obviously will show, and you don't want to be sending them out like that anyway. So wrap them straight away and then weigh them on your trading standards recommended scales before you sell them. If you are declaring a weight, you do have to declare a weight in the UK because they're not a single-use item. There's no set amount for how long they last, because it depends on body types, how often people shower, if they leave them set properly and dry on the side, or if they leave them in a pool of water. So if anybody asks you how long they last, I wouldn't give a definitive time. Obviously you can test yourselves how long they last. I always take one on holiday with me for 2 weeks, and it lasts a full 2 weeks, and I end up going away. Don't bother bringing it home. But there's still a bit of soap left in it. Other people can go through a full one in a couple of showers. So again, it just depends how long it lasts. Okay, so any more questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll try and answer them. Thank you.